So hello and welcome to the Love is Summit. My name is Erica Glessing and I am the host. And my guest today, I almost get tears in my eyes at all the good that she does on the planet every day. I'm just beyond blessed and grateful to have her join us. Svava Brooks' husband grew up in an environment of extreme abuse, overcame odds upon odds, and then has dedicated her entire life to changing this for others who've gone through trauma. Seriously, Svava, when I look at the work you do on the planet and all the good you do every day in your life, I'm just beyond grateful for what you do. So if no one else has told you lately, I love the work you're doing on the planet, and it really matters. And I'm getting this sense when I even have you with me on this summit interview that there's so many lives you've changed that you're not even aware. There's so many places where people have healed because you chose to heal. So welcome.
Oh, thank you, Erica. You kind of have me in tears here too, and my heart is singing already. So thank you. I so appreciate it. It's to hear that from you. I do appreciate it, and I do feel very blessed that the work I get to do every single day, I do not take it for granted, and I feel like it's a big responsibility that I take to heart fully. So I'm here to serve. Thank you.
And your books are saying to show them right now. So we're just showing you two of the books that Svava has written, and she's also written in a book that I created called A New Day Dawns, Breaking Up with Abuse. But we have Journey to the Heart and Releasing Your Authentic Self, and these are all about thriving after trauma. So just why don't we jump in really kind of just jump off the deep end and explore. I've been through trauma. I'd like to be loving in my life, and somehow it's not easy for me. So what can you recommend for someone who maybe their dad was super mean to them, or maybe their mom traveled all the time and wasn't really present. These are things that aren't like being slapped around silly, but that can leave scars just the same. So maybe just kind of tap into that for our audience and tell us how we can reawaken that sense of loving.
Sure. Thank you for asking that. Such an important question. And one of the pieces that I was very frustrated for a long time that I didn't understand, why I kept feeling so bad and why I kept treating myself so badly for a long time long after the abuse had stopped.
Right.
So unfortunately, we live in a body, right? We are so much our biology, even though we are energy and we are multidimensional beings and much, much bigger than just this physical container that we sit in.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, how the mechanism of this body works is that we mimic what we see around us growing up, and we create habits and patterns in our nervous system that often, vibrate at the same level, like our comfort zone almost. We keep repeating what we saw and experienced growing up. And so the hardest part for me about learning how to love was that to really recognize I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what it felt like. I hadn't seen it. I hadn't really felt it.
Wow.
It was hard. So this may be hard for some people to hear. And I can still remember that moment when my husband said to me, "So I cannot feel your heart." And I felt crushed. I felt really ashamed. But then I realized I trusted him. And I said, okay, if there's something here that I'm missing. And it was kind of around the same time where completely dropped into my energy field was from God. So you're here to learn about love, which I think we all are. Not just to learn about love, but to give and teach others about love. So I sat on the journey to really understand the impact of not being shown, modeled, and like having grown up in the field of energy of love.
Well, and Svava, it's been even more years now since we first met. I mean, you can tell people, why don't you just give them a little bit of the horror that you had to experience for whatever reasons. Just tell us kind of a little bit of what you've had to overcome. I mean,
Sure.
well, you didn't just wake up one day and your husband said, "Oh, baby, I can't see your heart." It wasn't all about that. It was really a lifetime of challenges.
Exactly. So basically, to sum it up, I never went to bed feeling safe in my house my whole childhood. My stepfather, I say, groomed my mother. I think she was a target. She was a single mom with two little girls, desperate to find a partner, a husband. And so I was physically, emotionally, and sexually abused my whole childhood until I got out of there. And that's the piece that I'm talking about. In order to survive my environment, I left my body a lot. I disconnected from my body. I survived being up in my head.
I'm just going to pause you on that because
Sure.
even though my childhood had none of that kind of physical abuse, that sense of not being safe in your house and being subject to being yelled at irrationally for different things. Like, I would leave my sweater on the back of the chair wrong and get yelled at, but the day before it was on the back of the chair and I wouldn't get yelled at. And then the next day, like, I'd get screamed at. And so there was this intermittent being screamed at from very irrational beings who happened to also like drugs. My parents liked taking drugs. And so I remember this just experience of like having zero control over, and being a Libra, I love peace. Like, harmony is such a value for me. And that just wasn't present in my home. And I know, just like, we're just tipping into the surface of the kinds of childhoods that people have had.
Yes.
And what amazes me about love is that it doesn't care. It just doesn't care where you came from. It doesn't care what you went through. It doesn't care how. I had dinner last night with someone who's had a really strange grandfather. And he, at age 7, would like offer him like a beer.
Yep.
Like, it was just so, like the odd things that happen in households,
Yep.
families, and it gets called love. And it's so convoluted and twisted that we say, oh, if that's love, I sure as heck, I do not want that, because that motherfucker, that fucking, excuse my language, that hurt. So you know what? I'm just going to close off and really, let's have no love, because you know what? If I have no love, I can control my environment.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I see when you're sharing that with me.
Yep.
So then now let's go from this horrible childhood, and I think it's okay to call it horrible. I'm not really putting judgments on ourselves for having really strange experiences as children, but let's just call it, sort of like life from hell. And hell on earth.
It was.
And then something happens, you're in your own family now, and you decide that you're not going to live this way any longer. It was really a moment, right?
Yep. And basically, well, that's exactly it. It's like it helped me to understand that the stories that I had made about who I am, my family, and the world when I was a child were still running my life as an adult. I was bad. The abuse was my fault. I was not lovable. Love was scary. Love hurt. I wasn't going to hurt anybody. So I just disconnected.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to feel the hard feelings. And so you can't select feelings. If you choose not to feel, you repress all feelings.
Oh my goodness.
So understanding and getting in touch with my core beliefs that were all toxic, that were all lies, really helped me to really understand the impact again on my body. And my path to self-love was really through self-care, that then became self-compassion, that then became self-love. And now when, because this is where I feel the love. It's not up here. Wow. It's here. Yeah. And now I can tap into love. It's like all that can how much can I tolerate? Right? How much love can I receive? And because of the work that I do see it my responsibility to continue to open, because I'm just a vessel. And I'm like, yeah, I want some, I want more, because I know.
Now you have children, right? How old are your children?
Yes. I have a daughter, 25, 21, my girls. And then I have my baby boy is 15.
So tell me a little bit about this evolution and how it's kind of, how you're able to break the cycle in your own life with your own children.
Thank you for asking that. That was the hard one, because I did not know how to love from here my kids when they were babies. But once I realized, and I started my healing for my kids, because I didn't want to have my blinders on.
Right.
But I set out to heal for them, but then I recognized I had to heal for me, because my kids are watching me. They're learning from this model what it looks like to be a healthy, grounded, living wholeheartedly in an embodied body, right? And then I had to sit with my girls. I had to sit with them and apologize. I would never ask them forgiveness. I just would be really honest and cry with them about why I couldn't give them the love that they deserved when they were babies, that I didn't know how to lean in with delight and warmth in my body and in my eyes when they were babies, because I was so scared of love. I was still hiding.
Right.
But I have learned to be present with them, like full body listening, full open heart presence with them. So they now know mom is here. She loves me. They can't get away from it.
Right?
So, but I still see some of the tension in them, the trauma habits, especially my oldest. But the more I heal, the more I support her, help her understand why. And she's on her own journey. But it's one of the things that I'm probably the most proud of. I have stopped the cycle of violence. And my husband and I both, because we both come from very, very broken families.
I got almost complete body chills looking at the fact that for anyone who's listening, I want you to know that there is this ability to tap into love, no matter where you come from, no matter what country you come from, no matter what poverty you come from. Like, love doesn't care about that. I just want to let people know that it's available. And why don't you lead us just in an exercise of actually opening our heart? Because when you talked about that, I got present to, like, when I went to college, I was always rewarded for brainiac. Like, I was always rewarded for my writing skills. I was always rewarded for how I thought and my grades and my schooling. Like, that's where I got all you know what I mean? I was never rewarded for, like, as you showed it, like, neck down. Like, yes. I was always rewarded for, like, this, for my cerebral. And so I'm curious, when we start being in our body again, you know, well, maybe just why don't you lead us into, like, what that might require for someone who is, you know, since like attracts like, maybe we're attracting people who haven't really been in their body that much.
Yeah, exactly. And I think my favorite way to explain that to people is, you know, science-based, you know, self-compassion. I mean, science is really proving how powerful self-compassion practices are, and I use them quite a bit. But for you, it's very simple. If even self-love is uncomfortable, because it is for many of us in the beginning, is to start with a simple act of putting your hand on your heart and just hold it there. And just drop in slowly and gently, no forcing, no pushing, no shoulds. And just notice how your body just slowly starts to relax. You can feel the shoulders just slowly soften. And just feel that warmth from your hand on your heart. And you can whisper quietly to your body with your eyes open or closed. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And for some of us, this is just a, simple beginning, because loving ourselves instead of judging ourselves, being mindful. Are you loving yourself or are you judging yourself? Are you connecting with yourself or are you withdrawing from yourself? Are you withdrawing up to your head or are you withdrawing from people, humans? We need connection, right? And are you mindful and present? Or are you over-identifying with the story from the past or worrying about tomorrow? It's only right here, right now, that Erica and I can feel into each other, right? There's these beautiful, expansive hearts that we have. So here you go. Very simple start.
What I really love about this conversation, Svava, is really you can start anywhere. And I think people really do beat themselves up for not having enough love or not being enough love, but opportunities exist and they'll just pop up. They'll just pop up. For me, I was at an event the other night, my daughter, and it ended up being, it was a surprise visit to a ranch through her daughter's, one of her sports teams. And I think they had about 30 or 40 animals because they had like 6 or 7 dogs. They rescue animals all the time. They had so many horses. And so I happened to be able to hear messages from animals. And so I went up to the lady who had invited all the girls over and fed them all so nicely. And I just connected with some of her dogs for her. And it was like, it's as simple as that. Like an expression of kindness is as simple as that. You might smile at someone in the grocery store and change their entire chemistry. Like just having that one, if you ever had that happen where someone just smiles at you, and you expect sort of rejection a lot of times when you're in the world. Oh, I don't know, not everyone does. I got a little baggage, but but it's like just being that kindness. It's crazy how much you can change just doing that, isn't it?
It is. And I mean, I just want to show you, I carry a purse full of hearts. I collect these and I go buy them in bulk and then I'll leave them around throughout the day.
I love that idea.
And because just like you said, sometimes it's just a smile. Just sometimes I just lean in delight. I see you. Or sometimes I just leave a little heart, when I pay for my lunch or, anyway, because it isn't that we have to know each person's life story to connect with them. I think we're all out there searching, like, please someone see me. I mean, because that I suffered in isolation and silence, playing a little Miss Perfect, until a good friend tapped me on the shoulder one day and it's like, Svava, are you okay? And I was floored. I'm like, what? You can see how I was pouring all my life energy into just pretending. And that's unfortunately how so many people live.
And so, I think when you said that, I really got goosebumps because I'm doing this one thing right now. I'm always doing a million things, but I'm helping these 2 women who are doing an educational podcast about divorce. And as I'm listening to how they're helping people, I'm amazed at how we isolate ourselves when we're going through a troublesome time. And we really think we're the only one. We really think like we're the only one. And I just laugh, like, I just go, oh my gosh, there's so many commonalities that they see in all the people they help. And I just had no concept when I was going through that divorce that I went through and the stalking and all the weird things that were going on. I had no idea there were so many resources for me available. I just had no idea that there was so much help available. And now I look around, I'm like so grateful at the people who do this work and to reach out. And let's really encourage those light workers who are listening to really step it up this year, next year as we're going into 2019. Let's just encourage people to step up their caring and their kindness and their whatever it is that their messages are, right? Like whatever it took for you to suddenly have all these books you've written.
Yes.
Right? It wasn't easy.
No, and it's was kind of amazing that when I decided I was, I needed to do this, I needed to put this out into the world, the help showed up. I had no idea how I was going to make
Oh,
this
show
happen.
us the second one again. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that one.
Sure. Basically, after writing my first one, which is The Journey to the Heart, I got some amazing feedback. And actually, I'm hearing this book is being used by both survivors and therapists alike. But with my second one, I added, instead of just having there's a little truth for every day, I have a couple questions. So in each question calls you to dig a little deeper. And I also, what I did for my book, I have a closed Facebook group for my readers. So like you said, often we think we're the only one and we're struggling alone.
Right.
So I've put the people of my books that are reading my books together in a group, and what amazing transformation is happening just for people that are like, oh my gosh, I thought this was a unique suffering to me. It's like, no, all humans hurt the same way.
Wow.
So helping each other and finding the language, not only to talk about our hurt, but how do we heal? How do we shift out of just surviving to thriving? I mean, that's really why I wrote the book, because I was looking, where's that guide? Because it's a lifestyle. I had to be very intentional every day about, who is stepping out of bed? Like, is it my lovable, wholehearted, grounded self, or is it my scared little girl, or is it my angry teenager, who's going to fight everything or everyone? So those daily practices, I was desperately searching. So was the catalyst for my books, to help people. It is creating new healthy habits, new healthy thoughts. And again, over and over again, it's all about, I'm talking about how can we reconnect with yourself, your body, your heart, and your most authentic self, which is you in your most glorious form, whether it is on a sad day or a good day, because that's what the human experience is.
Wow. Well, I am so grateful that you took your time out of your amazing life, keynote addresses and speeches all over the planet, and came on the Love Is Summit with me, Erica Glessing. Everyone, it's Svava, Svava Brooks. And Svava, why don't you tell us where we can reach you and find out more?
Thank you, Erica. And again, I'm so grateful that our paths crossed, because I do appreciate the beautiful, beautiful light and the messages that you bring. People can find me on my website, svavabrooks.com. And also, I'm on most social media outlets. I think I'm the only Svava Brooks. At least I have not found another one. So, I'm pretty easy to find, and anybody that wants to learn more about me, please reach out. I have all kinds of ways that I support people. So we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.